In the early hours of Monday morning, Russia launched a missile attack using Onyx missiles, targeting a ship repair facility in Odessa. As a result of this attack, the shipyard suffered damage and 2 people were injured. As Oleg Kuiper, leader of the military board of the Odessa region, reported on his Telegram profile, the injured people were a man born in 1961 and a woman who was born 5 years later in 1966. Both people, despite their injuries, are in stable condition and have received appropriate medical care. Kuiper added that although emergency services quickly brought the situation under control, the administration building and its interior suffered damage. Yuri Ignat, a representative of the Ukrainian Air Force, expressed the suspicion that the attack could have been carried out using ballistic missiles. He emphasized the speed with which such a missile can reach its target, which indicates the possibility of using it in the described attack. Ignat is waiting for more detailed information about the type of weapon used. Oleksiy Goncharenko, deputy chairman of the National Council of Ukraine, said in a message on Telegram that a total of 6 Onyx missiles were fired towards Odessa, targeting a ship repair facility. Additionally, earlier on October 30th, Russian forces carried out another series of attacks on Ukraine. 2 X-59 missiles and 12 Shahed drones were used. According to information from the Ukrainian armed forces, these missiles were fired from aircraft operating from the airspace of temporarily occupied areas of the Zaporozhye region. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, all attacking targets were successfully neutralized and air defenses were active in many regions, including Mykolaiv, Kherson, Kirovograd, Cherkasy, Zhytomyr, Khmelnytsky, and Dnipropetrovsk. According to information provided by the Strategic Communications Center of the Ukrainian Army, on the night of October 30th, Ukrainian forces conducted an operation against a strategic air defense point located on the western shore of Crimea, territory occupied by Russia. Meanwhile, a Russian communications platform on Telegram called Astra reported earlier in the day a Ukrainian missile strike on a Russian air defense base located near the village of Olenivka, also located in the western part of Crimea. Sources related to Astra claim that as a result of this attack, 17 Russian soldiers were injured and 5 military vehicles were damaged. However, the Strategic Communications Center did not provide any additional information regarding the impact of this attack or the weapons used. The Ukrainian armed forces noted in one of their reports that the raid carried out on October 25th near occupied Luhansk targeted a Russian air defense system called S-400. The Russian Ministry of Defense, in turn, stated that their units managed to shoot down 8 Storm Shadow missiles, which they believed were fired by Ukraine towards occupied Crimea. The whole situation seems to be part of a larger conflict, but Kiev has decided not to comment on this issue. A pro-Krakian Telegram channel, Crimean Win, reported a series of explosions that occurred in Sevastopol around 12 p.m. local time. This event was confirmed by local residents who contacted the Ukrainian media Suspiln. Information suggests that at the time of the attack, Russian forces created a smokescreen over the Bay of Sevastopol, and after it dissipated, plumes of smoke could be seen over the port area and the Golandia district, where many military installations are located. The independent website Kiev could not immediately confirm the above reports. Additionally, in the town of Saki, also on the western coast of Crimea, there were a series of explosions, followed by power outages, as Suspiln Crimea reported, citing residents' accounts. Since the summer of 2023, there has been an increase in destructive attacks on Russian military points on the occupied peninsula. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, in his statement on October 24th, emphasized that recent Ukrainian actions have deprived the Russian Navy of safe ports and sea routes in the western waters of the Black Sea, while at the same time, Ukrainian forces continue their efforts to regain the territory of Crimea. Russian forces conducted a military operation against the western and southwestern parts of Donetsk, making a successful attack on October 29th. Geolocation information released the same day suggested that Russian units were moving southward from the Krasnohorivka area, which is immediately west of Donetsk. The General Staff of Ukraine reported that Ukrainian forces managed to repel Russian attacks in the vicinity of Marinka, also located west of Donetsk, as well as in the area of Novomykhailovka, located 20 kilometers southwest west of Donetsk. In turn, a Russian news source claimed that on October 28, Russian units achieved some success in the vicinity of Novomikhailovka. Additionally, on October 29th, a Russian military blogger shared footage showing the activities of elements of the 33rd Motorized Rifle Regiment from Russia, belonging to the 20th Motorized Rifle Division, 8th CEA SMD, in the Marinka area. However, Ukrainian military units did not conduct any known or documented operations in the western or southwestern areas of Donetsk on October 29th. Russian leader Vladimir Putin expressed his belief that the anti-Semitic riots in Makhachkal were caused by the intervention of Western secret services, including actions in Ukraine, as reported on October 31st by Russia's state news agency TASS. According to Putin, these manipulations took place via social media. The Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs previously named Ukraine as a participant in the riots, suggesting that Kiev had a direct and decisive influence on the latest destructive act. Ukrainian officials have vehemently denied any connection to these events. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ole Nikolenko pointed out that such incidents demonstrate deep anti-Semitism among Russian elites and people. He also added that Russia's accusations about Ukraine's involvement are an attempt to put responsibility on the wrong people. Advisor to the president of Ukraine, Mikhailo Podolak, emphasized that Ukraine had nothing to do with the latest mass acts of xenophobia in Russia. On October 29th, a group of anti-Semitic protesters stormed the airport in Makhachkala, Dagestan, Russia, attempting to identify Jews aboard a plane arriving from Tel Aviv. People participating in these protests expressed their anti-Semitic views, expressing dissatisfaction with Israel due to its ongoing conflict with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. In response to these events, Russian services arrested 60 people and over 20 people were injured as a result of the riots. On October 30th, the Russian Investigative Committee announced the detention of 2 soldiers from Russia in connection with the tragic event in Volnovasha, where an entire family from Ukraine consisting of 9 people was murdered. The information provided showed that the detained soldiers came from the far east of Russia. The Ukrainian legal services reported on the same day that in the above-mentioned incident, Russian forces broke into an apartment and murdered 9 civilians, including 3 women and 2 children aged 5 and 9. Investigations conducted by Ukraine showed that a few days before the tragic event, Russian soldiers tried to force the residents to leave their homes, but they refused. Despite earlier threats, they left the area. Nevertheless, they returned on October 27 and massacred the sleeping family. While the Russian Investigative Committee confirmed some key information about the case, such as the total number of victims, it did not address other details presented in the Ukrainian report. Earlier reports indicated that Russia denied all allegations regarding crimes committed by its forces in Ukraine. Additionally, in one earlier case, a Russian soldier confessed to killing a Ukrainian civilian during the early days of the invasion. However, he was arrested by Russia not for murder, but for spreading false information about the conflict. From the materials of Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty from March 2023, we learned that this soldier was sentenced by a court in Khabarovsk in Russia to 5.5 years of suspended imprisonment. On October 30th, in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, a meeting was held between President Volodymyr Zelensky and a group of congressmen from various U.S. parties, which was emphasized by the president's office. The delegation included such figures as Republican James French Hill and Democrats Michael Quigley and Stephen Lynch. In his statement, Zelensky emphasized that such a visit is a clear confirmation of U.S. support for Ukraine. He noted with satisfaction the unanimity of the Republican and Democratic parties, President Biden's administration, and Congress regarding support for Ukraine. However, the future of bipartisan support for Ukraine from the U.S. Congress is less clear. Mike Johnson, the newly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives and member of the Republican Party, expressed skepticism about American aid to Ukraine. In one of his first official speeches on October 29th, he indicated his support for financing Israel's defense while omitting Ukraine. Additionally, top Republican Party official Mitch McConnell sought to block $61 billion earmarked for Ukraine as part of a massive $105 billion White House financial package. Although a significant part of Congress still supports continued support for Ukraine, there are clear differences of opinion between between the Democratic and Republican parties. Democrats are more inclined to help Ukraine compared to Republicans. These differences are also visible among voters. A survey conducted on September 20th by the Ukrainian organization Razom showed that 87% of respondents identifying with the Democratic Party supported continued support for Ukraine, while only 48% of respondents from the Republican Party shared this opinion. On Sunday morning, 2 Ukrainian drones attacked parts of an oil refinery near Krasnodar, Russia, causing massive fires. Information about this incident was reported by Ukrainska Pravda, which, citing sources, indicates that the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, was responsible for the attack. Information provided to the newspaper by unknown sources indicates that last year, the FIP plant produced more than 7 million tons of fuel that was used daily by Russian jets patrolling the skies over Ukraine. The explosions, which occurred around 3:45 a.m., affected a refinery located in the Seversk Oblast near Krasnodar. This installation is a key source of fuel for the jet engines of the Russian military.